Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to jump into the Dungeon Master's Guide, and we're going to look at Gauntlets of Dexterity. This magic item is very useful. I've given out probably several in my many years of DMing. I even have two players that actually have them. They got them well apart in actual time, but I'll go into the story of why I was so glad to get it on one of the players, or one of my characters rather. So Gauntlets of Dexterity. A pair of these gloves appears to be nothing more than light leather handwear of everyday sort. Naturally, they radiate magic if so detected. They size themselves magically to fit any hand from that of a huge human down to that of a small halfling when they're pulled on. A pair of Gauntlets of Dexterity increase overall dexterity by 4 points if your dexterity is 6 or less, 2 points if your dexterity is 7 to 13, and by 1 point if it's 14 or higher. Furthermore, wearing these gloves enables non-thief characters to pick pockets or open locks as if he or she were a 4th level thief. If worn by a thief, these increase the abilities by adding 10% to the normal percentage chance for the character's level. It's kind of rare that you get a magic item that actually helps one of your abilities in the character class, specifically the thief, so that's pretty neat. And these gloves will fit any size. They'll shrink or grow to fit a large human to a small halfling. And then the gauntlets actually work. The worse your dexterity, the better the benefit for the gauntlets, from the gauntlets rather. So if your dexterity were to be a 6 or less, you gain 4 points. So if it's a 6, you would jump to a dexterity of 10. And the reason I said that I had a soft spot in my heart for these is my first successful character, Lord Sneezy, back in the old Holmes box days, that's where he started, had a 5 dexterity. I don't believe there was a penalty for such a low dexterity, but I kept the character because he had an 1895 strength, all rolled naturally. I called him Lord Sneezy because I thought he was going to die very quickly. Lord Sneezy's been with us since probably July of 1980. So at one point, the DM finally, once we moved into AD&D and I was losing points to armor class for having such a bad dexterity, and I played that way for several games. One of the DMs actually took pity on the character and said, oh, you find a pair of magic gloves, you slide them on, they were Gauntlets of Dexterity. My dexterity went from a 5, which was horrible, jumped up to a 9. And that made the character very nice and playable. 9 dexterity is not great, but it's not going to give you penalties, which is exactly what he had intended. So I was always grateful to him for taking a look at my character and knowing I'd enjoy him more if I wasn't working under such a handicap. That was tough to play the character once we went to AD&D. He was tough to play. And I love that you get thief abilities. Pickpockets I kind of get because that's, sleight of hand. Open locks is as much knowledge of locks as it is any dexterity of your fingers. But that being said, because magic, so I do allow it. I love that you're as a 4th level thief for doing those 2 functions. I love that you can pick locks, but you can't look for traps because that would possibly save you. I've had players decide to use the pick locks without anybody around able to look for traps and suffer the effect of the trap. And if they're actually worn by a thief, they add 10% to the normal percentage chance of the character's level, which is also excellent. I allow the gauntlets to take your dexterity beyond racial maximums. So I think a human is 18 is the highest dex. I'll let them go to a 19. Elves that have a 19, I will let go to a 20. I'm careful in who I give these out to make sure I don't have a bunch of ridiculously high dexes running around in a campaign, but I will do that. It says it increases by 1. I like it, and it's never hurt my campaign. I've been doing that for over 40 years. It's never once posed a problem in my campaign. So one of my favorite pair of gauntlets, is the Gauntlets of Dexterity. I love giving these out as a DM, and I received it on the 5 dexterity character. I loved getting it because it moved my dexterity to a 9, and then I got it on a character, an 18th level or a 17th level thief who had an 18 dex, and I got a pair of these for him. It boosted his points by 10% on pickpockets and open locks, and I was able to go up to 1 more place in dex, so that was pretty sweet. There isn't much difference between 18 and 19 and 20 dex. At my table, it does give you an advantage on initiative. I've done that in an old video where you can take a look at how we roll initiative. But they're still nice. I like them. They're almost a prestige thing in some of my games. The players just like them. Everybody kind of styles with them because they're soft, beautiful gloves and that kind of stuff. But that's it. That's all I've got for today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends. Let's keep the channel growing. Please take a look at Patreon, see if you can help me there. Existing patrons, thank you very much. And that's all I've got for today. I'll see you next time on page 121.